We use Open Circle as our social emotional curriculum from the 3-year-olds all the way through 5th grade. And that makes for a great experience for students who are here throughout their elementary career because they're learning the skills in a clear sequential model throughout the years. There's a set structure during the day. When new teachers come to the school, I'm confident about the training that they're going to get, about the expectations that are set in the school, since every teacher is using those, as well as the homeroom teachers, as well as the specialist teachers. Also, when new students come to the school, that's kind of a unique struggle because they're coming to a new school that may have very different expectations than the previous school. So we're trying to kind of catch them up, but at least we know that there's a set structure during the week that outlines the expectations for them to interact with their peers as well as teachers. Well, we just saw the lesson on listening. That's obviously a basic skill that children need to master in order to be successful in school and really through life. And the type of listening that we expect at school is often very different than how we listen at home with our families, where you really do need that undivided attention focused on the teacher and really being able to listen and monitor and then be able to utilize that information. Also, in today's day and age, school looks different than when I went to school, where I worked very independently. Students have to work cooperatively in small groups. They need to be able to cite their own ideas and then also oftentimes challenge others' ideas in a respectful manner. And that's a different skill and a high-level skill that we expect very young children to be able to utilize to work together. And that's really what the workplace looks like nowadays. And then also just general problem solving. Obviously, children have a lot of disagreements about things, whether it's, the ball went out while they were playing kickball, or, that's my pencil, not your pencil, or whatever it may be. And this gives them some appropriate vocabulary to be able to voice their opinions, their concerns, and challenge one another without things escalating. That's something that, as the principal, I cite quite often. Obviously, many times when children come to my office, it's because they're having trouble in the regular classroom and some of the structures inside the classroom haven't worked. So also being able to have some clear vocabulary and knowing the students have some background in some strategies to calm down is a great place to start. So even the very youngest children, I can say, okay, let's take a flower breath, and they know what I'm talking about, and we can work on deep breathing to help them calm down. So that's something that is very helpful. And once again, that shared vocabulary makes it very easy for any adult, even if it's not the most familiar adult, to be able to interact with children in a calm way when they're very upset. Well, of course, we think the Everett is the best. And I think one of the reasons is because we have had Open Circle for so long. It's about 15 years that we've been using Open Circle. All of the staff that work in the building have been trained in Open Circle. And there is a clear expectation that teachers should be utilizing that in their classroom. And honestly, at times there's been times when teachers have gotten off course with that, and it's very obvious. And we can cite that and talk about that and kind of use that as a learning experience. And then also, when a class has some personalities that may be clashing a bit more, that's a resource. So we can say, okay, kids really aren't getting along in this classroom right now. What can we do about it? And the first thing that we turn to is Open Circle. Okay, let's pull some lessons and maybe go back to those or do them a little differently, or have maybe another support teacher co-teach those lessons with the homeroom teacher. But it does, once again, it's that shared language and a resource. It's a curriculum just like any other resource. When there's a problem, even though it's not an academic problem, we have something to reference. So the Open Circle sustainability team has really grown from something that really was kind of simply Open Circle curriculum based to something that's more of, looks at the school culture in the building, so the general tone of the building, how are students behaving, Our students, we've worked on everything from, students are walking quietly in the hallway and our expectations around that, expectations in the classroom when we've had lots of turnover with teachers, creating kind of shared systems to deal with problems. And really at this point we're really looking at, when we're thinking about the school culture, how are we embracing that in the building? So beyond kind of behavioral expectations or expectations for interacting with one another, but embracing the students in the school. So we're very lucky. We have a very diverse population at the Everett, and the Open Circle team has really spearheaded the work to take advantage of that and create projects that embrace the different cultures in the building, that mix some of the ideals of Open Circle with some academically based projects. So I think that's something that I'm really proud of that the team has taken on, and that they really look at kind of the culture in embracing families and bringing them into the work that we're doing as a school. I think in order for children to be able to sit, listen, interact with one another, you kind of have to have this base of expectations, and so that's kind of the very foundation that Open Circle builds for all the students in the classrooms and the teachers in the building. So that's kind of how we can get things started to begin with. So I feel like at this point it's so ingrained in what we do that it's almost hard to separate. But I think when people come to the Everett School, the culture is absolutely evident to them. I think there's a sense of shared responsibility and shared expectations that is very clear to anyone who spends any time at the Everett School. I think the benefits of the professional development is very strong for the teachers. They learn kind of how to facilitate with the classroom, how to appropriately draw information from the students in a safe way without violating other students. A teacher who came to our school in the last couple of years from another school in Boston, and I think already had an appreciation for kind of the social emotional learning, and definitely had some clear expectations for student behaviors and interactions in the classroom. Came back and was really just raving about having the structure and resource, and has even used it in dealing with parents who were upset about an issue, whether it's school-based or just kind of environmental family factors, but has really learned to lean on those skills and lessons and applies them over and over. And especially in dealing with some of the more challenging behaviors that we sometimes encounter.